Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 126 based on novel. So let's start. Emperor Ching stood there, and naturally endless sword lights gathered around him. He himself was like a sword, and the mighty blood river could not erode it in the slightest. 3,000 killing formation, heavenly pillar realm. Emperor Ching thought of it, and the sword formation changed immediately. In the endless blood river, pillars of heaven gathered with sword lights. Each pillar was extremely majestic and infinitely high, and naturally supported a vast world. 36 pillars of heaven? Luo Feng looked at the scene in front of him in surprise. This vast world, 36 pillars of heaven supported the sky, completely trapped the mighty and heavy endless blood river. Brother Milky Way, this is the 36 pillars of the heavenly pillar realm that I comprehended. I comprehended a little bit and integrated it into the formation. Emperor Ching smiled. Look, how powerful is it? With 36 pillars as the foundation, it supports a world. This world sword formation is indeed extraordinary. Luo Feng felt the endless murderous intent contained in the 36 sword light pillars and laughed, but my blood river is not that simple. Rise! Luo Feng's huge spiritual will merged with the entire endless blood river. At this moment, the entire endless blood river was like a huge python, and the python suddenly swung its tail. The entire endless blood river whistled and whipped one of the sword-light pillars. Bang tilde tilde tilde, this sword-light pillar suddenly trembled and many cracks appeared. This blood river hides such a mystery? Emperor Ching was secretly shocked. The seemingly simple blood river swung its tail, but in fact, the endless power continued to invade. The upper limit of the power of the origin continent is not a burst of attack. It was a continuous explosion, either a sharp strangulation, or a feminine penetration, or the crushing of the most basic units. The power limit of the continuous explosion was reached, and it was a combination of different mysteries. With just a flick of the tail, cracks appeared on the pillars of heaven. Bang, bang, bang. The vast blood river, like a big snake, rolled and whipped wantonly, and the sword-like pillars of heaven began to collapse and could not be stabilized at all. This power? Is this the power of Emperor Ching and the Milky Way Kingdom Lord? The other god kings of the origin continent watched this scene from afar, including the emperors of the Flame Wind Ancient Kingdom and the monarchs of the ancient country of Lei Ting, and they all felt suffocated. The infinitely high sword-like pillars of heaven and the vast and wanton blood river were all forces they could not resist. This is the power above the God King. Emperor Ching and the Milky Way Kingdom Lord are too terrifying. These God Kings trembled. The world beast of Tianmu country was also watching from afar. No matter how hard I practice, I can't break the bottleneck. I ate and drank all the way to the ultimate realm, but then I was trapped in the ultimate realm forever. Compared with these two, I am so far behind. From the beginning, he didn't rely on his own comprehension and practice. Suddenly, he had to rely on himself to go from the ultimate to above the God King, so the possibility was naturally very low. Above the God King? The 10,000 Worlds Kingdom Lord was also watching from afar, on the basis of the complete avenue, absorb other mysteries, integrate them into his own avenue, and make the avenue go further. But this step is too difficult. The complete avenue is already perfect. Integrating other mysteries is often superfluous. The power does not increase but decreases. The 10,000 Worlds Kingdom Lord can integrate some mysteries into the avenue, and the power can be slightly increased, but it is obviously not a qualitative change. Maybe I should leave the origin continent and take a look at other worlds. The 10,000 Worlds Kingdom Lord thought. Before, the only one who was stronger than him in this era was Emperor Ching, and now there is another Milky Way Kingdom Lord. The 10,000 Worlds Kingdom Lord has the heart to venture out. Emperor Ching looked at this mighty blood river, howling wantonly, sweeping in all directions. Even his 36 sword-like pillars collapsed one after another. Unable to resist this terrifying might, he couldn't help but smile. Brother Milky Way, your blood river is indeed extraordinary. I will use the strongest form of this 3,000 killing formation, 3,000 worlds. As soon as the voice fell, Billions of sword lights emerged, with endless mysteries, naturally forming a large formation. Luo Feng's face changed slightly. In the vast area around, a world with blackbirds singing and flowers blooming appeared, with endless land, sky, mountains, and even some ordinary creatures being born. Birth of living things? Luo Feng was surprised. 3,000 worlds can evolve all things in the world. Although it is far from the operation of the supreme rules, it can be regarded as a little understanding. Emperor Ching appeared in this world and looked at Luo Feng with a smile. The endless blood river in this world almost runs through half of the world, but it is suppressed by the invisible rules. The power of the entire world is suppressing the blood river, and the blood river has become laborious to roll. The power of the entire world was suppressing this blood river. In the blood river, there was a flash of sword light, annihilating strands of blood river power. But the blood river was full of endless vitality, and when a strand of power was annihilated, a strand would naturally recover. My endless blood river is struggling every move, and it is completely suppressed. Luo Feng was surprised that this was the endless blood river that drove the secret pattern in the Star Tower, but it was suppressed. Brother Luo He, your blood river is already very mysterious, and in terms of realm, it can be regarded as the early stage of the God Emperor. Emperor Ching said, under the power restrictions of the origin continent, although I can have a slight advantage, I can't hurt you at all. The blood river that runs through most of the world has terrifying vitality. I didn't expect that I would be suppressed in the origin continent. Luo Feng laughed, Brother Emperor Ching, I'm going to go all out. You should also take out your secret treasure. Go all out? Emperor Ching was stunned. Luo Feng stood in the endless blood river and shouted. Suddenly, a dark and deep 9-story tower began to emerge in the endless blood river. Boom boom boom, as soon as the 9-story tower appeared, the surrounding 3,000 worlds began to tremble, and countless cracks began to appear. The earth, mountains, sky, everything was shattered. When Luo Feng was fighting the enemy before, he just drove the secret pattern of the Star Tower to control his body to turn into a blood river. Now, he is truly controlling the Star Tower itself to fight the enemy. This power? Emperor Qing's face changed. He saw that as soon as the 9-story tower appeared, it naturally eroded the 3,000 worlds, and the 3,000 worlds began to collapse. This is not an ordinary secret treasure. Emperor Qing felt the horror of this secret treasure. After the Star Tower emerged, it became bigger and bigger. Vast. Majestic. After it appeared, it became bigger and bigger, and naturally caused the 3,000 worlds to collapse, and it continued to grow. Crush all directions. Emperor Qing's 3,000 killing formation could no longer be used. This? Emperor Qing looked up at the 9-story tower, which made him feel nervous. This secret treasure must be a secret treasure made by the chaotic origin life form. In the origin continent, this kind of secret treasure is most easily obtained in the infinite space. Although they are both beyond the God King secret treasures, the secret treasures made by these God Emperors and the secret treasures made by Yuan and others are very different. Yuan and others have long jumped out of the cage. Even if they make them casually, they can achieve regular effects. For example, all attacks below the chaotic origin life form, including soul attacks and other types, weakened by 90%. This kind of regular effect cannot be made by the God Emperors. At this moment, Emperor Qing also felt a sense of high rules on the Star Tower. It was definitely not a secret treasure made by ordinary God Emperors. At this moment, all forces on the origin continent saw this scene from afar. The 9-story tower appeared. The power has reached the upper limit of the origin continent. And there are some regular and terrible infiltration and erosion. Just looking at it, one can't help but feel fear and despair. What a treasure! The 3 foreign races were greedy and moved, and they were greedy. It may be a secret treasure refined by Yuan. It's a pity that it is in the origin continent. No one can rob it in the origin continent. The 3 foreign races also realized this. And the other experts in the origin continent were completely shocked. The strength of the Milky Way Kingdom Lord can actually suppress Emperor Qing? How can this 9-story tower be so terrible? The emperors and monarchs were all trembling. It turns out that he has not really gone all out to kill Emperor Yuan. Take out this tower, his strength is too terrifying. Brother Milky Way, quickly collect the secret treasure. Emperor Ching had already hidden far away and spoke immediately. Suddenly, the star tower merged into the endless blood river and disappeared. The endless blood river converged into Luo Feng's figure. After the competition with Emperor Ching, Luo Feng was sure that Emperor Ching could not damage his blood river at all, so Luo Feng publicly used the star tower. There are too few opponents in the entire origin continent who are worthy of using the star tower. Luo Feng is also itching to do it. Emperor Ching stepped closer to Luo Feng and smiled at him. Brother Milky Way is so talented, it is natural for you to get the powerful secret treasure left by Senior Yuan. I also got a secret treasure left by Senior Yuan, but I took it to the outside world earlier. In the future, Brother Milky Way should be careful when taking this 9-story tower to the outside world. Emperor Ching reminded, because it is easy to be targeted by foreign expert. Brother Emperor Ching, aren't you afraid of being robbed? Luo Feng asked. Ha ha, just be careful. Emperor Ching said, Senior Yuan has refined a lot of secret treasures. For example, they can be exchanged in the infinite space. Secret treasures occasionally appear in some treasure lands such as Heavenly Pillar Realm. Luo Feng understood. Emperor Ching treated his star tower as the secret treasures exchanged in the infinite space. The secret treasures exchanged in the infinite space are all refined by the chaotic origin life form, and may even be refined by Senior Yuan himself. Emperor Ching said, the value is high and low. The high one is more than 100,000 reward points, and the ordinary one is 20,000 to 30,000 reward points. Every secret treasure with more than 100,000 reward points can make the God Emperors crazy. Emperor Ching sighed, the ones with 20,000 to 30,000 reward points are much more ordinary. Luo Feng nodded. The treasures worth 100,000 points in the infinite space are all helpful to jump out of the cage. He has never exchanged a secret treasure, and he doesn't know the difference between the secret treasures exchanged in the infinite space and the star tower. For me, the most important thing about the star tower is not fighting, but assisting me in my practice. Luo Feng understood this point, and comprehending the secret patterns of the star tower was very helpful to his practice of the path of life and death. So even if he went to venture outside the origin world, Luo Feng didn't plan to bring the star tower. As long as the star tower remains in the origin continent, no one can rob it. Brother Emperor Ching, has any cultivator ever exchanged for a secret treasure worth more than 100,000 reward points? Luo Feng asked. We don't have it in our origin continent, but other origin worlds do. Emperor Ching laughed. Senior Yuan has left infinite space in many origin worlds. It is generally recognized that 100,000 reward points in infinite space is a limit. Every treasure that reaches this limit is extremely precious and even helps to escape from the cage. Unfortunately, it is too difficult to reach 100,000 reward points. Luo Feng also agreed. It is indeed difficult. His own spiritual will broke through, and he also got 100,000 reward points. But all the reward points can't be exchanged for only one treasure. The special inheritance and perfect inheritance in the infinite space treasure house are also very attractive. A secret treasure worth at least 100,000 reward points is conceivable in its scarcity. Even if it's a secret treasure worth tens of thousands of reward points, it's pretty good. Emperor Ching smiled. By the way, are the few secret treasures left by Emperor Yuan after his death hard to sell? It's hard to sell. I barely sold 2 out of 5. Luo Feng waved his hand, and the remaining 3 secret treasures, the red cloak, combat boots, and gloves, appeared. Sell the 2 more valuable ones, and leave the 3 most common ones. Emperor Ching looked at them and said, 3 secret treasures from the early stage God Emperor, how about this? I will buy them back from the Flame Wind Ancient Kingdom, and make up the whole, 10,000 chaotic origin crystals. 1 chaotic origin crystal can be exchanged for 2 guest officials from the ancient kingdoms, and 1 can only be exchanged for 1 merit. 10,000 chaotic origin crystals is 10 billion merits. This is a huge merit that ordinary second-level god kings can look up to. Even for the emperors and monarchs, it is very difficult to collect such a huge merit. Okay. Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Emperor Ching waved his hand, and a pile of dazzling chaotic origin crystals floated on the side. Luo Feng's eyes lit up. Each of these chaotic origin crystals seemed to be the size of a finger. They were all very round, and the natural aura they exuded made Luo Feng want to absorb them. Chaotic origin crystals are the universal currency outside the origin world. Emperor Ching explained, they are made by the chaotic origin life forms that have jumped out of the cage, and the essence of the endless chaotic origin power is condensed. Each one is so small, and it is also suitable for us to trade. Luo Feng waved his hand to put away the pile of chaotic origin crystals, but he kept 3 in his hand and felt them carefully. Chaotic origin crystals are beneficial to the cultivation of all the life forms in the cage. Emperor Ching said. Universal currency? Luo Feng understood and looked carefully at the 3 chaotic origin crystals in his palm. Absorbing it will help you practice. But you have to be moderate. Emperor Ching said, in the early stage of the God Emperor's strength, don't absorb more than 100 per epoch. If you absorb too much, the effect will become worse and worse, or even completely ineffective. Each practitioner has different physical and soul strengths, so the most suitable amount is also different. This requires you to slowly explore in your practice. In short, once you feel that the effect is getting worse, you have to reduce the amount immediately. Emperor Ching reminded, as long as you maintain a low dosage, the effect of the chaotic origin crystal will always be better. You can use it until you jump out of the cage. Luo Feng praised. It's really magical. The chaotic origin crystal can be used by ordinary guest officials of the 2 ancient kingdoms, and the God Emperors can also use it. It is indeed a treasure with a wide range of adaptability. Brother Milky Way, if the secret method is created and everything is ready, please notify me at any time. Emperor Ching handed a token to Luo Feng. When the time comes, crush the token and I will sense it immediately. The other emperors of the Flame Wind Ancient Kingdom only have a communication order to send a message to Emperor Ching, and Emperor Ching will not read it when he is in seclusion. But Emperor Ching was the first to sense Luo Feng's talisman. Okay, I'm fully prepared. I'll inform Brother Emperor Ching when I leave the origin continent. Luo Feng readily agreed. Emperor Ching smiled and nodded, and left immediately. Flame Wind Ancient Kingdom, Ching City, Emperor Ching Palace. Emperor Fu, Emperor Yang, Emperor Jiufeng, Emperor Chu and other 11 emperors, either in real body or incarnation, have gathered here. Emperor Ching fought with the Milky Way Kingdom Lord, and the Milky Way Kingdom Lord finally released a 9-story tower, which seemed to defeat Emperor Ching. These emperors were a little terrified. The Flame Wind Ancient Kingdom was high above, and its greatest confidence was the ancestor of Flame Wind and Emperor Ching. In the origin continent, under the power limit, the gap between Emperor Ching and the ancestor of Flame Wind was not big. Huh. Emperor Ching appeared on the throne in the hall. Emperor Ching. The 11 emperors looked at Emperor Ching. Emperor Ching looked at these fellows, frowned and shook his head. This Milky Way Kingdom Lord is extremely powerful. He even has a very powerful secret treasure. Even with that Tao-type secret treasure, I can't beat him. The 11 emperors were confused. Emperor Ching couldn't beat him. The power of the origin continent is limited. Even if the ancestor takes action, he has to rely on a powerful secret treasure to suppress the Milky Way Kingdom Lord. Emperor Ching shook his head, suppressing him. I can't hurt him either. The foundation of this Milky Way Kingdom Lord is already established. Emperor Ching shook his head lightly, and disappeared. Only the 11 emperors were left looking at each other. Even if the ancestor takes action and uses the secret treasure, he can't hurt this Milky Way Kingdom Lord. Emperor Yang was disappointed. Emperor Fu sighed and said, we emperors can't do anything to the Thunder Ancestor and the East Pole Territory Ancestor. Now there is only one more Milky Way Kingdom Lord. It seems that we can only endure the hatred of Emperor Yuan. Emperor Kong sighed on the side. Emperor Kong, don't gloat over other people's misfortunes. Emperor Yang scolded on the side. I'm telling the truth. Do you dare to take revenge? Emperor Kong sneered and left in one step. Let's go, another ancestor-level existence. Emperor Chu, Emperor Jiufeng, and others also left one by one. Emperor Fu was quite troubled. This Milky Way Kingdom Lord is so powerful. With the secret treasure in hand, he can suppress Emperor Ching. Is he really Luo He? Emperor Fu was not so confident at this moment. With his strength, will he leave the origin continent with me? Companions are chosen by each other. He chose the other party. But the other party also has to look up to him, the Emperor. The gap in strength is too big, and the Milky Way Kingdom Lord may not want to pay attention to him. Practice, after all, depends on oneself. One must be strong enough. Emperor Fu said secretly, I have to find a way to reach the ultimate realm. The attainment of the formation is obviously very deep, and there is only a layer of window paper left to the ultimate realm, but it can't be broken. Emperor Fu is also very distressed. Emperor Qing finally took action and wants to avenge Emperor Yuan. Emperor Qing and the Milky Way Kingdom Lord are too powerful. Did Emperor Qing lose? Did that 9-story tower defeat Emperor Qing? Those who had a little knowledge could see that Emperor Qing had lost this battle. This shocked them. Because there is a consensus in the origin continent, Emperor Qing is invincible if the ancestors of the two kingdoms do not take action. This time, the Milky Way Kingdom Lord, holding the 9-story tower, suppressed Emperor Qing. In our Thunder Ancient Kingdom, except for the ancestors, there is no one above the God King. We must be more careful in the future. The monarchs of the Thunder Ancient Kingdom were more panicked than the emperors of the Flame Wind Ancient Kingdom. Isn't this the star tower I refined? The sitting mountain guest clearly saw the whole process of the battle between Emperor Qing and Luo Feng through the images recorded by the Thunder Chamber of Commerce, and also saw the appearance of the star tower at the end. The star tower, a secret treasure of the first-level God King, can actually be used to defeat Emperor Qing? The sitting mountain guest was puzzled. It seems that when I refined the star tower, the golden light that merged into the star tower was very special. The sitting mountain guest thought. With his strength, he was very careful during the refining process and did not dare to make any mistakes in the materials he used. But there was a golden light that ignored the formation he arranged in his domain, and directly merged into the star tower. The sitting mountain guest noticed something wrong at the beginning. At the beginning, after the golden light merged into the refined star tower, the star tower quickly took shape. From his perspective at the time, the star tower was indeed a secret treasure of the first-level God King. He could not see the truth of the star tower at all, and it was much more difficult for the star tower to recognize its master than the sitting mountain guest expected. It was Luo Feng who was recognized by the star tower only when he was on the verge of life and death. Good treasures must have a suitable owner. In Luo Feng's hands, the star tower can truly exert its power. The sitting mountain guest was quite emotional. As a refiner and a first-level God King, he couldn't even see the true mystery of the star tower. But the sitting mountain guest just felt happy. Happy for his disciple. After avenging his blood feud, the sitting mountain guest was extremely calm. What he cared about most now was his disciple Luo Feng. The more dazzling his disciple could be, the more happy he would be. The little guy who walked out of the earth has unknowingly stood at the top of the origin continent. The sitting mountain guest thought and smiled. Huyang City, the city lord's mansion, in the quiet room. Luo Feng is practicing in seclusion here. The affairs of the Milky Way God Kingdom are mainly handed over to Morosa. Of course, when encountering critical moments, he can reach the Milky Way God Kingdom with just a thought. This time, Emperor Qing deliberately fulfilled my wish. Luo Feng understood this. Emperor Qing only performed a set of 3,000 killing formation from beginning to end. He did not perform any other powerful means, nor did he use any secret treasures. A being above the God King who has been wandering outside the origin world for a long time, has no means of risking his life? In his hometown, he doesn't have a single secret treasure? If he really doesn't care about the cost, it is hard to say whether he can gain the upper hand. His own secret treasures may have an advantage, but Emperor Qing's realm is higher than his. If he uses some late-stage God Emperor or perfect-stage God Emperor secret treasures, he may be able to rival the Star Tower. In the origin continent, the power is limited. Even if anyone has the upper hand, Emperor Ching, and the ancestors of the two kingdoms can't do anything to the other side. But outside the origin continent, the gap is huge. Luo Feng knew very well that his so-called invincibility now took advantage of the power limited by the supreme rules of the origin continent. Practice well, at least you have to reach the ultimate realm. Luo Feng flipped his hand, and a chaotic origin crystal appeared in his palm. Luo Feng swallowed this finger-sized round jade-like treasure in one gulp. The chaotic origin crystal fell into his body and began to be slowly absorbed. Chaotic origin crystal is the essence of the refined chaotic origin power. As long as it has not become a chaotic origin life form, it is normally helpful. At this moment, Luo Feng's body and soul were nourished, and the speed of thinking was increased several times, and his comprehension and feeling were also improved. It even has the effect of strengthening the body and strengthening the soul. Luo Feng exclaimed. Chaotic origin crystal strengthens the body and soul at a very slow speed. In theory, with unlimited chaotic origin crystals and unlimited time, the body and soul can be made extremely powerful. Unfortunately, the amount of chaotic origin crystals taken in each era is limited. Taking too much will reduce the effect or even make it ineffective. Generally, the stronger the life level, the weaker the nourishing effect of the treasure. But chaotic origin crystal can continue to be useful. Luo Feng closed his eyes and began to concentrate on comprehending the 3 ultimate level strength chaotic origin bloodline creature materials he had obtained. Time was also passing by during the practice. Since the competition with Emperor Ching, no one from the origin continent has challenged the Milky Way God Kingdom. The Milky Way Kingdom Lord has been on par with the ancestors of the two kingdoms, the ancestors of the East Pole Territory, and Emperor Ching. Moreover, the Milky Way Kingdom Lord's hatred of evil deeds also makes the ancient beings of the entire origin continent dare not act recklessly. At least the devouring of hundreds of millions of people will be extinct in a short time. In a blink of an eye, the Milky Way God Kingdom has been established for more than 300 epochs. On this day, an amazing thing happened. The Elder Yuan of Blade River Sect broke through and became a God King. This video will end here.